What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the Laravel GraphQL tutorial series. My name is Christopher Moore, and in today's video we're going to take a look at how to work with authentication in our GraphQL schema. We'll start by creating a login mutation to create an auth token, then we'll create a query that returns the authenticated user. So let's get started. All right, so first thing that we need to do is if we take a look at Laravel's API authentication, it kind of walks us through how we can create an API token and use that to authenticate users on a request using a bearer token in the header. So to do that, we need to make some adjustments to our table. So I'll PHP artisan make migration, and we'll add API token to users table equals users. All right, open up that file, and so we're going to say table string API token, have a limit of 80 characters, it needs to be unique, it can be nullable, and we'll default it to null. And then on our migration down, we'll say table drop column API token. All right, so I'll go ahead and refresh database, PHP artisan db seed, reseed it, and go ahead and restart my server. Let's close out the terminal. Okay, so next let's go ahead and open up our schema. And we're going to need to create a mutation in order to create a login. We'll dive into mutations in the next tutorial, but quickly for authentication, we're going to create a mutation called login, and it requires an email, which is a string, as well as a password, which is a string, and it's going to return a string, which is going to be our API token. All right, so we'll create a new resolver for this. Auth mutator at login. All right, and going back real quick to our Lighthouse configuration, inside of our namespaces for mutations, it's going to look inside of our app GraphQL mutations namespace. So let's go ahead and create that. Class, namespace, app GraphQL mutations, class auth mutator. All right, and it's looking for a function called login. We're going to get our root and our array of arguments. All right, so to authenticate a user, we need to grab the credentials. So we'll use our helper. So we're going to only grab email, password. All right, so if auth once credentials. So once is a helper method that Laravel provides when you want to authenticate with an API instead of something like with a cookie. So we're going to authenticate, and if the user is authenticated, we're going to create a token, and we'll use the string helper random 60, import this, there we go. Okay, and our user is going to be our authenticated user. All right, so since we've authenticated here, we can use the helper auth user. I'll go ahead and say auth user, the API token is going to be set to the token that we created, and we're now going to save that user, and we will return our token. If they didn't get authorized, then or authenticated, will return null instead. Okay, so let's go ahead and try out this mutation. So if I open up Playground, say mutation, login, email, and if I go back quickly to my user seeder, we can see we have a user who signed, or we created a user with john.dill@graphql.com with the password of secret. So let's use that. All right, and if it worked, we should get our API token, which we do. So we're going to copy this. All right. So next, let's go ahead and return our authenticated user using a query. So we're going to create a new field on our query. We're just going to call it me, and it's going to return a user, and we'll have it field resolver. We'll create default. So user query me. All right, so let's open up our user query class, create a new function called me, and all we have to do here is return auth. We need to set the guard to API and return the authenticated user. All right, so looks like, oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to wipe this out. Return me, and this is going to be our user, so we'll get our name and email address. And if I go ahead and run this query, it's going to return null because we haven't actually added that token. So here, I'm going to clear this out for one. So Playground gives you an easy way to add HTTP headers. So we're going to add an authorization header and add our bearer token. And this here is the token that was returned to us from the previous login query. So now if I rerun this, now we get our user. So now I can request my current account, and I can see what jobs, 5 that have a status of queued, data title. So here's my account, and here's the jobs that are assigned to me. All right, and real quick, if we go over to Lighthouse, we actually have a helper method available to us inside of our directives. We have auth. So we have this auth directed, so I can actually adjust my schema. And instead of defining field, we'll just say auth, and we'll set the guard to API. And if I rerun this, and just so we can see it, I'll switch this to processing. There we go. All right. So that's authentication with GraphQL using Lighthouse, and in the next video, we'll take a look at some mutations.